And welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy show. I'm Christine Gold with 24 Karat Healing. I'm your spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, and old soul healer. And the power of healing your energy talks about your spiritual path, unconditional love, and my wish is that everyone finds it within them. Myself, I have healed my depression and anxiety through meditation, intuition development, healthy eating, emotional trauma release, inner child work, shadow integration, also known as ego. And I love to guide empaths or sensitive folks to unleash their gifts as light workers that are masked as depression and anxiety. And through that work, you will discover that you've always been intuitive and that you have gifts. So let's have an open discussion and help us find and share new skills, techniques, support along our personal journey. And we are live and interactive. Get comfy, join the conversation, share this out, and leave comments and questions below. And each week I aim to have a guest or a topic. And this week is no different. My guest this week is Adrian Z Wesley, and Adrian completed his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the University of Calgary, yes, and has been passionately learning about studying human optimization for over 23 years. He attended the Coastal Academy of Hypnotic Arts and Sciences to become a clinical hypnotherapist. He is a member of International Medical and Dental Hypnosis Association. Adrian is deeply committed to facilitating the awakening of your personal power and to making self-love, yes, go viral. Welcome, Adrian. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know there's a bit of a time difference.
How you doing, Christine? I'm very happy to be here. It is 5 a.m. in the morning. So yes, I'm very committed to making self-love go viral and being on your show. I just got to wake up a little bit.
Amazing, amazing. And I want to give a shout out to StreamYard. They're an amazing online platform that I kind of stumbled across before using something else. And I mean, you know, it's very interactive. It takes a little bit to get used to, but here we are. So, I mean, something we have in common, you grew up in Calgary. I mean, I'm in Edmonton. I know that you know, if you mention that, it's not a big deal. But anyways, I guess what started your journey? Like, where are you living now as opposed to where you were before?
I live in Thailand right now. Last year in October, I think it was, when was it? October 1st, I booked a one-way ticket to Thailand and decided to go on my journey to discover Southeast Asia. I had moved my whole business online as an online entrepreneur. And yeah, I was living in Vancouver, Canada before that. I've lived in 16 different cities, 5 different countries, 6 different countries, 5 different continents. Wow. And was born in England, but we immigrated to the US and then to Calgary. So the journey started basically growing up in Calgary and going to the University of Calgary. And yeah, that's where everything started, Christine.
Amazing. Now, I mean, I follow you quite a bit, and just tell me a little bit about, I guess, why you're wanting to make self-love go viral.
I guess it all really just started off in childhood. I was bullied. I didn't fit in. And then my mom started to get depressed. And when I was in grade 7, my mom attempted suicide. And then when I was in grade 10, my mom died by suicide. And from that point forward, or even before that, when she started to get ill, probably when I was in grade 6, I started to develop generalized anxiety, OCD behaviors, PTSD. I didn't know about the PTSD until I was 40, until I was diagnosed with it. And, you know, struggled, had an interesting adult life, did a lot of different things, but struggled a lot mentally, ups and downs, and always living in fight or flight, and always living as if something was wrong and I wasn't safe. And then when I was 39 years old in 2008, I went bankrupt. I was an over-leveraged real estate investor, and I lost everything. But sometimes you have to lose everything to find everything. And Sometimes you have to go to where you don't want to be to find out where you do want to be. And losing everything made me realize I didn't want to spend the rest of my life on an economic transaction, and that I was going to make self-love go viral, because I had discovered that, in my opinion, all the problems in the world could be solved if we taught people how to love themselves, because you make very different decisions when you love yourself. So I went to hypnotherapy school, Christine, and started really making deep changes. I had been working on myself all my life, but it didn't really start to shift until I started hypnotherapy and got into my subconscious. And 3 years later, I have a thriving practice, and yeah, things are amazing. So that's a quick snapshot of Adrian Wesley's story as to why. And the only thing I'll add really quick is that I don't suffer from generalized anxiety or PTSD anymore. If I was to go see a psychologist, they wouldn't diagnose me with that. But I still have bad days, and I still got to work on myself. And the depression programming is still in me, and I still have to live a very strict life with daily protocols, meditation, the way I eat, to stay on top of things. So I don't want to give the impression that you just cure yourself and these things go away forever and you never have to do anything about them again.
True. And I mean, our paths are quite similar. I had the depression and anxiety piece for most of my life. And to say that, I just waved a magic wand and it went away, and that's, it's something I get up early to do. I'm sure you do as well. It is a practice of self-love and self-care, and it takes dedication. And yeah, like you said, you have bad days, right? I think maybe the key is, maybe I'm wrong, at least for me, is to be aware of when you're having a bad day, and then saying, okay, obviously I have a few things to work out still, but I don't let it continue. I stop it there and like, okay, there's something going on here. And then just to be kind and gentle with yourself. I feel we are our worst critics. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think something you said that struck me was when I had generalized anxiety, and before I still trying to speak in the morning. Before I discovered techniques on how to start observing your thoughts and start to disconnect from your thinking, I thought I was my thoughts. So you don't get much space between you and your depression and your anxiety, and that's why I think a lot of people end their lives, because the darkness surrounds them and there's no hope and there's no faith that things are going to get better. But once you learn to be the observer, and once you learn that you are not your thoughts, things can start to change. But something you said is exactly what I was saying, is that I really have to stick to my daily protocol. It would be easy in certain situations for my mind to go back to the way it used to deal with things. And so the message I have is that you can end your suffering. You do not have to suffer. It is not a lifetime sentence, but you're going to have to become committed to self-care and self-love. And it's the self-love that pushes you to create the new habits and to stay committed to your self-care. Now, you said something at the end of that, and I didn't actually answer your question. Sorry, you said something.
It's all good.
What was the last thing you said? Do you remember?
We were talking about not critic. Letting. Sorry. Yes, our worst critic, definitely.
Sorry, Christine, I didn't answer that. I tell people I was mentally abused for 25 years, and I was the abuser on myself, and I was the victim. And until you change the beliefs that you are good, that you're not bad, that you are worthy, until you forgive yourself, that's really the turning point for me, was forgiving myself and realizing that I wasn't bad and that I could stop beating myself up. But if you've been thinking like that and you've been the worst critic on yourself for 40 years, it's going to take years and years to reprogram new beliefs and new habits. So that's another message, is that this whole journey is a lifetime journey and a long-term journey.
Yes, exactly. It never ends. It's almost like we want this quick fix. Like, yeah, at least in the Western society, everything, the proverbial easy button, or I'll just do that and then everything will be good. And, or even in my case, I'm a spiritual person. Nothing bad will happen to me.
That's not the way it works.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been, doing my prayers and my mantras, my affirmations and all my work. And then, it's, I think the observer part is the biggest piece, is because I think we're trained to, especially if you're in fight or flight, I can definitely resonate with that as well, that you react to everything. And why is everything happening to me? And, or that term, hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that fight or flight is very interesting, because I would say the majority of humans in the developed world are living their life in a low state or a high state of fight or flight. And that means that, to me, that means that you're tight energetically all the time. You don't feel safe. I've done many, many talks to groups of people and asked how many people in the room honestly feel safe, and not one person puts their hand up. And that means that if you're in a state of fight or flight, your mind and body think you're being attacked. And that means the law of attraction means you start attracting more of those negative thoughts. So it's like this negative feedback loop, which can be quite devastating. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people that crash.
Definitely. Lynn has joined us. She's saying hi. And I've also shared the watch party out on my own personal page. And Lee has commented, she's saying, super important messages today. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes. I'm so glad we got to work this out. I know you're quite busy. And anybody else resonate with this, or they have any questions about meditation, self-care, self-love? How do you start? How do you maintain? I guess my question is, you're always helping other people. You've got to have some support in the background. Yes?
Yeah, I have my own hypnotherapist that I do sessions with when I need to have a business coach, and I've got an incredible group of supportive, like-minded, vibing friends, and authentic conversations with other men where I can cry. I was just on the phone with a buddy of mine 4 days ago, and I said, "Man, I just need to cry. I just need to let this out." And that was because I'm expanding right now. I got some new projects going on, and that's when I discovered that, I had a breakthrough 3 years ago where I set myself free from a lot of stuff that was holding me back. And I was floating for a year. I became a hypnotherapist. The clients were coming in. I was making more money than I've ever made. I was helping people. Good year and a half, 2 years. I'm feeling incredible. And then when you start to expand and start to grow, new faulty beliefs are exposed. So I've just basically determined that I'm not going to live a life sitting in a cave, comfortably uncomfortable, too scared to expand. And I'm going to keep growing. But my message to everybody is that if you want to keep growing and expanding, you're going to keep coming up with things that you need to work on. And something else that you said is important, I think, is that I've learned that these challenging things we go through aren't bad. They are what propel us to become closer to our higher self, closer to the greatest version of ourselves. And that's why I don't think that it's going to end throughout our life, unless you want to live comfortably uncomfortable. But that's not really living a life, in my opinion. And I think you'll regret that when you're older. So the theme is, Christine, is that you have to develop a daily protocol, and you have to do things that raise your vibration and connect you to source energy, however you call that. You have to be focused on your thoughts throughout the day. You have to start controlling how you think, and you have to take care of what you feed yourself and how you sleep. And I have to live a very, it's not regimented, but I have to do certain things specifically every day the same way so that I could stay on the high vibe. But back to your question, I get a lot of support too from just generally working with clients is a huge. I'm sure you can say yourself. I learn so much from my client sessions, and I get so much energetically back from that exchange that, yeah, it's been incredible, but it hasn't. Go on. Sorry.
No, it's a beautiful exchange of energy, especially when you're living your passion. You're like you're living your fully optimized self, right? And it actually, I always tell people I feel like I'm floating on cloud nine. It's an amazing feeling that does not need any stimulant, I guess. It's a natural stimulant. Just like meditation would be, just like a wonderful night's sleep or eating very well. I know you like your green tea
If I
in the
could
mornings.
interject something you said there about meditation and floating, and I wanna get everybody excited about what happens when you let go of the avatar. And I call it letting go because I believe a lot of people complicate meditation and think that, that I can't meditate. But essentially what you're trying to do, in my opinion, is let go to the place of no thought. And we're all connected to all of these different chords in our life. So I have a new business project. I have a retreat. I have my girlfriend, Joy. I have my client practice. I have my health. I have my money issues. I have all of that. And whether they're positive or not, they're still draining on me. And throughout the day, once, twice, 3 times a day, I do a practice where I let go, meditate, and disconnect from all of that, and disconnect from this avatar and reconnect with source energy, which is what we truly come from. And I just want everybody to know that it is the most incredible, floating, peaceful feeling you'll ever have, drug-free, cost-free. It doesn't include another person. And it's really worth it to keep trying on how to. The greatest addiction of our time is thinking. So it's going to take a bit of work to stop ruminating and learn how to focus on your breathing and let go into meditation. But it's life changing. It's a game changer, and it's essential, in my opinion.
I would have to agree. Whether you're doing a guided meditation, healing frequencies, sound frequency, sound therapy, whatever it happens to be, I believe is it theta or beta?
I'm a big fan of delta waves.
Delta, okay.
Because I find everybody's vibing up here super high, alpha all day, stressed. And, stimulants and fight or flight, and then you get them, you close your eyes, you go into beta. And as you know, then you go into theta, and then you go into delta. But I find with people using delta wave music, it brings people down actually to theta a lot of times because they're so wound up. So I'm a big fan of delta waves. I did one yesterday with theta waves, but delta waves are definitely. I'm a big fan of delta waves and riding the waves and letting go into the music. It's an incredible tool. Sound therapy is super powerful.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I have my little Buddha bowl here, but I'm actually I want to upgrade to the big crystal bowls. I really love the sound. Like it really just breaks everything up. So. Especially your energy, if you're finding things are stuck or it's almost like clapping your hands. It's the same idea. Like for Reiki, that same thing. I'm moving the energy. I feel like Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. There was a reason he did that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Lynn says, she had a question about meditation, but we kind of answered it by mentioning the need to let go. Okay. Great. Wonderful. So didn't something amazing happen to you recently? Now you had a dream. Now I know people sometimes figure either I'm too old or I'm too this or I'm too that. Please tell me about your dream.
When I was in university, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but there was this thing in the background saying you're going to be on stage and you're going to motivate people. And at that time it was like, I want to be Anthony Robbins. And I don't like to use that name because I don't want to be anybody else but myself. And I don't idolize anybody. But at the time he was like, yeah, I want to do what he does. There was something inside of me. Had grown up trying to keep my mom alive, grown up trying to keep a depressed mom alive as a kid. It means that you're constantly giving positive energy, and it's why I was on this planet. But I wasn't ready to do that. And one piece of advice I'd give everybody is, in university, I went to look in the library in a list of the highest paying salaries. And I found sales, and I found law, and I found a whole bunch of other things. And I directed my energy towards whatever was the largest paying job. And I spent 20 years chasing the money, and that wasn't the right way to go. I should have focused on what I wanted to do, which at the time was weightlifting. I should have opened up a gym and not worried about how much money I made. And the money will come if you follow your passion. But anyway, 25 years later, I've been doing public speaking, and I've been in sales organizations. I've spoken to 500-600 people before, but never as a motivational speaker. And last week I was in Barcelona and got on stage in front of 200 online entrepreneurs as a motivational speaker. And it was a dream that came true after 25 years. So never give up on your dreams. And if any of you right now are working towards becoming an entrepreneur or doing what your passion is, it's well worth it to wait. Because I'm 42, I'm 45, but I figured out hypnotherapy and working with clients at 42. And I have the rest of my life to do what I love to do. And did I suffer financially, and did I struggle for 20 years in my 20s and 30s to get here? Yeah. Was it worth it? 100%, because now I can live a life, my authentic self, and with my passion and purpose. So yeah, it was super exciting.
Amazing. That's amazing. And and I love, we have a lot of similarities as well. I went and chased, after the big sales job, and did that for 25 years. And you know what? I've learned a lot, and I have no regret. The only regret I don't ever want is to be on my deathbed and still have that little piece that wanted to do something more, or to expand more, or to go out and chase it, and no fear at all. Just all love and just trust. I guess is the biggest thing, is trust. Lynn.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Lynn's asking, do you have a favorite Delta Wave channel? And do you get it off YouTube?
I don't. There is a place called Enlightened Audio, which I buy. I think it's Enlightened Audio. I buy some of my Delta Waves for my Hypnosis audios. I have heard that the YouTube Delta Waves are not that great because they compress the file. So I would try and I would look up actually Delta Wave stores on Google. That's probably my best suggestion, but I think it's Enlightened Audio. They've got high professional grade Delta Wave, Theta Wave music.
Great. Lynn saying, good for you. You gave her tons of hope. So that's amazing.
Awesome.
So I guess do you also have, you're part of Power On Movement? What's that about? And you have a podcast and a weekly show. Do you want to maybe talk about that, and then have some people jump on and join you as well?
Yeah, it's a good story for everybody to hear, because I started as a hypnotherapist 3 years ago in Vancouver. And then after a year of practicing in person, I started off a group online called the Power On Movement. And I started delivering go lives every week, volunteering, getting up at 5 a.m. or whenever it was to do go lives. And the group has close to 10,000 people in it now organically. And that's just all been attracted in the last year and a half. And I decided to do a podcast, and then we found out that we could repurpose the go lives into podcast episodes. So we got a full season out of all the podcasts that I had already done. And my message really is that if you want to become a successful online entrepreneur, or you want to become successful at your healing craft or whatever you're doing, give away a huge ton of value, just help people. And it sucks. It doesn't suck at first, because I really enjoy doing what I was doing, but you don't make as much money in the beginning, but it pays off in the end. And there really is this energetic exchange going on this planet, in my opinion, where you get back what you give. And what I found was that when I started helping people for free with the Power On Movement, it was my nonprofit project. I started to attract people into my life that wanted to help me, and with the same energy. So yeah, the Power On Movement, I invite everybody to join that. You can just add yourself on the members button. And every Monday in North America, I do a half an hour, 40-minute go live on optimization. But it's been incredibly rewarding, and it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And it's partly because it's not about an economic exchange.
Definitely. I always catch it every week. And if not, I catch the replay. I still, what you say every week is super powerful. And
Thanks,
I always get a lot of value out of it. And I get pumped too. I feel like, like lifting some heavy weights and just,
awesome.
Get there.
Awesome.
And then after, before our live ends, our show ends, we're going to drop some links for you as well, so people can follow you afterwards and on the replay. And I guess, what's the biggest, like you said that you have a routine. What is your routine when you get up in the morning?
The most important thing I can tell people is that you need to get your sleep under control ASAP, number one priority. I am in bed by 10 p.m. every night, sometimes a lot earlier. Mm-hmm. There's magic that happens in the body between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. And if you're missing out on that, you're missing out on a lot of the magic. I don't eat 4 hours before bed. That's critical for me, and it's been critical for my clients because it takes about 4 hours to move food fully through your digestive system. And if you go to sleep with a full stomach full of food, your body can't do all the wonderful things it needs to do, like produce serotonin and dopamine, which make you feel good. So there's millions of people. This is my forecast, my belief, but there's millions of people on this planet that are depressed, taking antidepressants because they're eating before they go to bed as the primary cause. It's that significant. I've had huge changes in clients that adjust that. In the mornings, I lay in bed and meditate before I get out of bed. I focus on my gratitude list. I focused on commanding the universe while I'm in bed with my eyes closed in beta waves. And I train every day. Not every day, but I do weightlifting or body weight exercises, or I swim in the ocean and I do yoga. And I eat once a day and I have a snack. So I eat a lot less than I used to. And I'm constantly observing my thoughts and switching automatic negative thoughts to the positive automatic thought, and improving the conversation I have with myself. And I think those are the staple parts of it. But definitely sleep is super, super important.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I am usually in bed between 9:30 and 10, and would you agree having getting up at the same time and going to bed at the same time is important?
Yeah. Now, I've been getting up at 4 a.m. all this year while I've been in Thailand to deal with clients in North America because of the time zone. But I got to be honest with you, 4 a.m. is a little early.
It is.
But 6 a.m. seems to be 5 to 6 a.m. seems to be the sweet spot for me. But yeah, definitely, if you're in bed by 10 and you're up at 5, that's a 7-hour sleep. But if you're up at 6, it's an 8-hour sleep. So my ideal sleep schedule to suggest to somebody would be 10 to 6 a.m. and staying consistent. And if I stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm off the next day. And that's just some of the things we talked about. I can't drink alcohol. That's having depression and anxiety in my past. I have to live a certain way to make sure that it doesn't come creeping back in. And there's no quick fix to that. You just have to start living a certain way with certain disciplines.
Definitely. No, and I read, and caffeine for me is a no-no. I found that it actually raises my anxiety. I've done little tests here and there just to see what happens, and all of a sudden it just spikes. It's interesting how, people think, oh, I need caffeine, and actually you don't. It's again a program. And you need to break that program as well.
Well,
Um,
I just wanted to interject on that because
sure.
caffeines are really interesting. If you're suffering from anxiety right now, I would highly recommend you run from caffeine. It is
Okay.
like throwing gas on a fire. And that's part of what's tragic that's going on in the doctor's offices now is you've got people going in to see GPs saying, I've got anxiety. And the GP isn't asking them how much coffee they drink. If you're drinking a pot of coffee a day, well, no wonder you have anxiety. I want everybody to be very clear. Coffee is a drug, and it is classified as a drug, but it is legal because the overdose limit is so high. But that doesn't mean it's potent. And I always tell people that judge the heroin addict sitting out front of Tim Hortons waiting for their fix. If you're lining up for your sugar and your caffeine, you're no different than any other drug addict. And it's a harsh way of looking at it. But if you get a good night's sleep and you don't eat before bed and you learn to relax and let go into meditation, you don't need a stimulant.
I would 100% agree with that. And Lynn is just saying, looks like you have 2 pages, Adrian. Not sure what she means by that. Like, do you have 2 different sites on Facebook?
I have a business page, Adrian Wesley, and I have my personal site, Adrian Z Wesley. Yeah. So there's the personal page and the business page.
Now, what is with the Z? I mean, I did watch the video because people were asking about that. Does that have to do with numbers?
Yeah, a buddy of mine did a numerology session 2 years ago, and he got his numbers with his name changed. And I just going into this new project, and I just decided to pull out all the stops and try new things. I'm always about trying new things. So I booked a session with a numerologist, and to add abundance and financial abundance to my name, we had to add the Z, which was representing the 8. So I'm one of those people. That is very cool. Yeah, I'm one of those people that doesn't really care. A lot of my family must have seen that Z. I don't talk a lot to my family because we're very different, but they must have seen that and thought I was on Cracker Jacks. But you really got to stop. You got to stop worrying about what other people think and do what's right for you.
Yes, exactly. I think Wayne Dyer said it best. If you want to live a self-actualized life, you know, it's you and no one else.
Love that. Love Wayne.
Yes. Love him. I wish I could have met him. We do meet each other in dreams, but that's a whole nother story.
Nice.
Lisa is saying, hello, everyone. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Let me know if you have any questions for Adrian in regards to meditation, self-love, self-care, the practice, what that looks like. And Lynn is saying, oh boy, I suffer from anxiety and never thought that my 1 cup of coffee would affect it. What do you think about that?
As I said, if you were my client and you had anxiety, I'd get you off all stimulants 100%. There's absolutely no sense risking it. And I know from dealing with people with anxiety, coffee definitely aggravates it. And your job, Lynn, is to start changing your job, Lynn. I'm telling you what to do. But in my opinion, buddy, your task now is to get off the stimulants, start learning to let go to delta waves, to start and start noticing and observing your thoughts. And when you're having thoughts that make you anxious, switching them to things that don't make you anxious. So it's very, very powerful when you start to notice your thinking. And when you start to notice a negative emotion or anxious, ask yourself, what's the thought that's creating that negative emotion or anxiety? And then change the script to yourself, because your mind is always listening to you. Your mind is taking orders from you, and your mind is creating what you tell it. So I've had profound experiences where I've been feeling anxious and jealous and insecure. And then I go and talk to little Adrian, my inner child, because he's the one that's feeling those feelings. And I calm him down, and the anxiety and the jealousy and the insecurity, poof, goes away. So
no, that's beautiful. I also recommend my clients to write a shitty first draft, and maybe that includes 20 of them, but it's basically a 5-year-old's rendition of what's going on.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've written my own, so it's interesting what comes up. I guess it's just like anything else, it's a practice, and it's going to take time. And anytime, if fear or doubt or worry or shame or whatever's coming up, I try and flip it to something else, flip it to love. I always try and see things through the eyes of a child as well, because they have, no judgment. They basically have no filter as well. So trying to be more childlike and come from, through the eyes of a child, if that makes sense. I'm just looking to see, Lynn, boy, she's keeping the conversation going today. She says, it's kind of tough having a job that creates that anxiety, but I do start to take a few moments and focus on my breathing to calm myself down.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. And well, Lynn's actually one of my clients, and she is working on her dream of becoming an animal communicator.
Nice.
Yes. So I get it. She's trying to hold down a couple of things at the same time. So, but she's getting there. She's working on Reiki as well, which I fully believe once you have that Reiki piece, that would really help integrate the rest of the stuff that's going on inside of you.
The other thing I'd mention to anybody that's suffering from anxiety is the number one most powerful tool you have to change your anxiety, or two of them is changing your thoughts and breath work.
Yes.
Breath work is, it's so underutilized. It's so powerful. You can get yourself into an incredible meditative trance state from doing certain breathing techniques. And if you're having anxiety, you can extinguish it with certain breath work. So.
Wonderful. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I've taken a little bits and pieces from Wim Hof as well. Like when you go into that full breathing, let's say 30 rounds of breathing, by the time I'm done, my body is vibrating and I feel lightheaded. Now that's an amazing feeling. I also do the cold shower at the end for a minute and a half, which is supposed to reset the nervous system. I pretty much will try anything. And basically that's what, maybe you would agree, just try a whole bunch of things and find out what works for you and then stick with it.
100%. And I'd start with the stuff that we've talked about on this show today.
Yes.
I'd start experimenting with these foundational practices first. Cold showers are amazing. Wim Hof breathing is amazing. There's so many breathing exercises out there. It's incredible.
Definitely. And the yoga piece as well. I used to be hardcore gym rat, and now yoga and lifting a few weights and doing a few like HIIT exercises. That's pretty much what I do. Once you get all of this figured out, I'm always doing this, your energy piece, and I mean, that's mind, body, soul, the rest will come. But 100%. it's a dedication. You definitely have to be dedicated. And then do a lot of your clients feel like they're alone in their journey?
I would say the majority of people on this planet in the developed world I can speak to feel alone because they don't have a good relationship with themselves. And that's why so many people are codependent, and so many people are in relationships where they're not happy because they've gotten into the relationship expecting that person to plug into that person and for that person to create all their happiness. But I believe that's why most people don't feel safe, because they don't talk to themselves well and they don't have good relationships with themselves. And I think a lot of people feel like they're bad, that they're not enough and they're not worthy. And if that's the core, you're going to feel alone, and you're going to feel alone if you're not connected to your inner child and your source energy. You're going to feel alone.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, some of those things, bad. I mean, all these labels, like I just see a lot of labels, and looking for love in all the wrong places when it's right here.
100%.
It took me a long time to figure that one out as well. And it really does go back to the child and the inner child stuff. And they talk about karma as well. And people, well, some people I know would say, oh, that's bad or that's good karma. There's neither. It's here. This is the karma.
Awesome.
Yes. All right. All right. Is there anything else you want to leave for our guests? Do you have something upcoming, any workshops or anything else that you're working on that you want to let everybody know about?
We have a retreat going on in December 9th in Vietnam, and you can find that at fullmoonvietnam.com. And other than that, I just want to leave everybody with the message that you have everything you need inside of you to manifest your dreams. You are super powerful. Human beings by nature are super powerful. You're the only person that's turning your power off, which is exciting because you can turn it back on. And it all starts with the journey of coming home to yourself, identifying what your faulty beliefs are, forgiving yourself, creating love for yourself and committing to loving yourself, and then going on the journey of self-love and reprogramming. But always remember that you have everything you need inside of you to manifest your dreams, and you just got to come home to yourself and amplify that belief. And you're super powerful, and you're super special, and you need to let your unique flower bloom, and you need to find your passion and purpose to have a good life of growth on this planet. You have to find your passion and purpose, in my opinion, and you have to be the real you, and you have to let your unique flower bloom.
Wow, that was beautiful. I couldn't have said it better. And yeah, just be who you are. Live as authentically as possible. And I also feel the other piece is, if you've surrounded yourself with like-minded, high vibe individuals, I would implore that we all do the same. And if those people do not include, some of your friends, acquaintances, and even family members, then that's what you do, because it's for yourself.
That's what I've had to do, and that's been a big game changer. You've got to get rid of all the Debbie Downers and negative Nancys in your life. You are the sum of the people you hang out with, and it's very difficult to create a new space when you're hanging around with people that are in negative energy and depressed and not wanting to change. Doesn't mean you have to have people around you that are perfect floating every day, but you need to be on the same radio station, the same frequency. So
there you go, the same radio frequency. I love that. That's great. Well, thank you very much. Adrian, Lynn is saying thank you. Very inspiring feed today. Yes, I'm feeling lighter and brighter. And if you would like to get in touch with Adrian, we are going to leave all of his links below. If you're watching on the replay, please comment. If you have any questions, I'll respond. I'm pretty sure Adrian will respond as well to any questions or feedback or comments. And again, I want to wish you guys love, light, and blessings. And thank you, Adrian. You have an amazing day.
Thanks for having me, Christine. And my message to you is keep going, buddy. You're doing awesome. I was super excited to be here today and have a chat with a fellow Albertan. And
yes,
keep shining your bright light and creating more love and white light on this planet. And I'm just super happy to see you thriving, buddy.
Thank you, Adrian, and super pumped. And you got to come back. I mean, I feel that, there's
I'm coming back.
He's coming back, guys. So please share this out, make this go viral, and let's bring Adrian back sooner rather than later.
We'll do an event in Edmonton, buddy.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would so love that. So love that. All right, guys. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care.
See ya, guys.
See ya.